If you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you know that I have a certain fascination with trash chests. But people who've checked out the 4 different designs that I've done have 2 chief complaints. One is that they're scared they're going to put something into what they think is an ordinary chest, close the lid, and have it disappear forever because it was their trash chest. The other thing is that a lot of people prefer to chuck things as opposed to put their trash into something. So they would rather have a hole to throw their things in or have lava to throw their things in. So I came up with this design, the Trash Toaster 3000. Now this addresses both concerns. For example, we get to throw our trash into our trash can here. And as you can see, it then pops up behind this glass block. We can look at it, we can examine it, we can make sure that the trash that we threw in there is what we want to actually get rid of. Then we push this button, and the Trash Toaster 3000 burns it up, puts out the fire so your house doesn't burn down, and then you can move on with what you were doing. Now let me show you how this works. If we go over here, you can see that we've got all of that, but without all the walls and floors. Now what's happening here is we are throwing items into this hopper. They're going through to this dropper, which pushes them through to this dropper, which pushes them into that chamber there. Now when we push the button, it starts the fire because there are flint and steel inside of here. And since it's a dispenser, it actually does the action of the flint and steel. Then a short time later, this piston gets activated. Let me push the button again here. You can see the piston gets activated, pushes that block into the chamber, and puts out the fire again, so your house doesn't end up burning down. You're going to need 7 white wool, 3 cobblestone, a glass block, 3 trapdoors, can be any kind of wood you want, 2 droppers, a dispenser, a couple of observers, 3 hoppers, 2 sticky pistons, 3 redstone dust, a button of your choosing. In this case, I'm using crimson because it's red, like fire. Also 4 redstone repeaters, a redstone comparator, and then 9 flint and steel. Now we're going to start with this piece of white wool, which is essentially that piece of white wool right there. And we're going to put a comparator right on top of it. Then we're going to put the 2 droppers in front of that comparator. Now it's important that we come from above like this, and then aim right on the edge of that comparator. That makes sure that the hole is pointed upward so that the items are dropped upward. Which is kind of counterintuitive, but you get the idea. And then in front of the 2 droppers, we're going to put our hoppers. So put one there, one feeding into that one, and then one feeding down into that one. Make sure those are all pointed the right way. Then we're going to add these trapdoors, which essentially turn this into kind of a garbage can looking thing. Then we're going to add our glass that would be in front of the chamber. So I'm going to put one here and then get rid of it just so we can place that. And then you'll notice there is cobblestone on 3 sides. Now why cobblestone? Because it kind of looks like the texture of both the dispenser and the dropper. But you can use whatever block you want to use. We're going to go over here and we are going to put it right behind the glass. And again, I'm going to place a block there just to make my life easier. And then get rid of it. And then we're going to place this copper block. That's just what I used for my wall. Again, use whatever you want. So we're going to put that right here. We'll get rid of that one. Then we're going to add our button right there. And then behind it, we're going to add a dab of redstone dust. Now the reason we do this will trigger this dispenser here, but then also get this little delay mechanism going because we start the fire, we burn up the stuff, and then a short time later, we push the block in over the top. If we don't wait a little while, we don't have the opportunity for those items to burn up. So now what we're going to do is we are going to put in this dispenser. Now this is a little bit tricky. from the standpoint of we want to make sure that the hole for the dispenser is pointing down. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just put in a couple of blocks here and then come down below and aim up at that block. And as you can see, the hole is right there and we were successful. Now we need to put a piston here, but the first thing I'm going to do is get these pieces of white wool laid in. Now there are 6 pieces of white wool here, and as you can see, they start right behind this block here. So I am going to do this, come around, 4, and then 2 back. And you can see that right here. Now these 4 repeaters allow for that delay time, and each of these is set to 3 clicks. So let's put those in place. We're going to want to make sure they face the right direction. So these 3 will come from this direction. This last one comes from the opposite direction. And then we put a little bit of redstone dust at the end to connect them. Now we need to set each of these to 3 clicks to make sure that the delay is long enough. Now you can go with a slightly shorter delay, it will work, but I kind of like the effect of that fire just burning a little bit longer. And then we need to put this piston in place. Now this is another one that's a little bit tricky in that you want to make sure that it's facing the right direction. Plus you have to put it on the face of this repeater, that little narrow face. So I'm going to come right here and put it in here, and you can see it did connect to that block there. Now if we go down here, this is the clock mechanism I mentioned earlier that moves the items up from here to into the chamber. And the way this works is these 2 observers end up facing each other and they get a loop going. And each time that loop triggers, it pushes the items upward. So let's grab an observer. So I'm going to put a placeholder block here and then put the observer facing that block. So I'll come from this direction and place it right there. Now this one I want facing the opposite direction. So I'm going to come from below here and the back. Just like that. Now what's going to happen, we'll get rid of this block. When this piston underneath triggers, it will push that observer up to face this one, get that little clock mechanism going. Once this empties, it will move the piston, pull that observer back down, and the clock turns off. So let's grab this piston, and we're going to need a couple of placeholder blocks here again. We're going to come from above, make sure it gets facing the right direction, get rid of these, and there you go. Now if we go over here, you'll see that pretty much everything matches, looks like we're all done, but we're missing one important thing, and that is these, the flint and steel. Now I put 9 of them in the dispenser, and those should last a pretty long time unless you're really burning a lot of stuff. If you are, you've got a couple alternatives. You can reload this when necessary, when it's no longer working, or you could put a chest above it with a hopper feeding in to the dispenser and have a huge supply of flint and steel. So let's see if this works. So we're going to throw something in here, and it should pop up in there, which it did, and we can look at it and we can say, hey, that's a sticky piston, we want to get rid of that. Hit the button, it burns, the piston comes forward, puts out the flame, and our house doesn't burn down. If you liked this video, please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, or best of all, share. And if you didn't like this video, please keep it to yourself. Thanks for watching.